Welcome back to Satanism 101. Class is back in session. Satanism 101 answers some of the frequently asked questions about the religion of Satanism and the Church of Satan, and will address the various misconceptions about both. Time for the usual YouTube business. If you like this video series, please hit that thumbs up to like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, and leave a comment or a question you'd like to see answered in a future episode. Wrong. First, there are no sacraments in Satanism. Sacraments are largely considered a sacred Christian ritual. Satanism places no divinity or holy value upon one's medical decisions, as they remain mutually exclusive from the religion. There are those who will try to say abortion is a satanic ritual and that it is the sacrifice of the unborn. But as was discussed in this channel's premiere video, Why Do You Worship the Devil?, Satanists don't believe in the existence of any supernatural being, as in there are no gods or devils. There is no reason to make sacrifices, as there is nothing to make a sacrifice to. Social media posts can be found attempting to conflate Satanism with abortion. This is largely due to the actions and statements of a more recently organized group claiming to represent Satanism and the introduction of their abortion ritual in an attempt to circumnavigate laws which would prevent access to abortion after the overturning of the Roe v. Wade decision by the Supreme Court of the United States in 2022. To date, this organization's attempts at litigation have been unsuccessful, and as may be seen in various social media posts, they are often confused with the Church of Satan. Satanism, and by extension the Church of Satan as its representative organization, have no official stance on abortion. Medical procedures are not dictated to the membership, and these decisions are left exclusively to the persons involved. Anton Sandor LaVey's book, The Satanic Bible, is the primary text on what constitutes Satanism. What does it have to say about abortion? Well, not a thing, actually. In fact, the word abortion doesn't even appear in the book once. While the subject may have been a hot topic of discussion when the tome was first published in 1969, nothing was written anywhere about abortion within its pages. This does not mean Satanists won't have their own personal opinion on the matter. Anton LaVey is on record multiple times as being personally against abortion. As found in his essay The Third Side, The Uncomfortable Alternative from the Black Flame, the International Forum of the Church of Satan, and his final book Satan Speaks, Satanically speaking, I am against abortion, yet I do consider a problem of overpopulation. Therefore, I advocate compulsory birth control. Unborn babies did not ask to be conceived. Once conceived, they should have loving, responsible parents, even if adoptive. The most vocal anti-abortion crusaders are fundamentalist Christians. Their entire plan and purpose originated with the same motivation that propagates any ethnic or religious grouping: to fill the world with more people like themselves. The women's movement favors abortions on the ground that a woman's body is hers alone to control as she chooses. Neither advocates mandatory birth control and selective sterilization, which, as a third side, could eliminate most of the entire issue. Of course, whenever an issue becomes more important than a solution, don't expect to stumble over a third side. Going further back in time to the days pre-Roe v. Wade, the Magus also wrote in his weekly column Letters from the Devil for the tabloid The Exploiter in his response to one Eileen Y. in Greeley, Colorado. Dear Mrs. Y, I'm afraid I must disagree with your views on abortion. I would definitely urge you to encourage your daughter to employ whatever preventative method your family doctor would recommend for her. It is far better to avoid a problem before it arises, and in the case of unwanted pregnancy, this applies doubly. I trust the foregoing will convince your daughter that prevention is the only answer to the question of pregnancy out of wedlock. But if not, perhaps my reasons for opposing legalized abortion will. The staggering number of illegal abortions would diminish overnight if the antiquated approach to birth control were replaced with a strict government-controlled program, which made it mandatory for each person to adopt a method of contraception that would preclude the possibility of births due to forgetfulness, ignorance, or irresponsibility. Abortion is unnatural and unnecessary. Man is the only animal who practices such wanton killing of its young, and yet man considers himself emancipated and more highly evolved than any other species. Legalized abortion would have a disastrously demoralizing effect on our society, for it would further instill the notion that human life is one of the cheapest commodities in the world. To anyone who would presume to play God, nonchalantly turning thumbs down on any tiny person whose only crime is existing, as nature dictates he must, I say either accept the blame and bear your cross, or else reject the barbaric religion which has distorted your reason and robbed you of the right to choose. How can these murderous deeds be rationalized? Does it not occur to the proponents of legalized abortion that their actions may result in the destruction of embryos which could mature into mighty leaders or great teachers? How can we even consider the senseless annihilation of our unborn children when it is due to the stupidity and negligence of their parents that they were created? It would defy all logic to execute a child for a murder committed by one of his parents, but to me it seems equally illogical to punish an unborn child for the actions of his parents. Society must reject any religious creed if it requires that its adherents produce unwanted human life only to have it destroyed. Despite such stances, Anton LaVey never made his personal opinion on the matter canon within the religion he created or his policy within the organization. He also did not expect or demand others agree with him on everything. As may be found on the Church of Satan's website, is abortion a sacrament in Satanism? No. It is an optional medical procedure which should be within the rights of the pregnant person to choose if they so desire, since being pregnant or not should be their decision. Limits on the gestational age of the fetus that may be aborted are up for discussion as part of a social contract, which should be based on scientific data, medical necessity, and personal value systems. How one views abortion is a matter for our members to decide individually, based on personal standards, but they may not enforce their values upon others who are equally free to make their own decisions on this issue. From their article, Religion Has No Place in Politics, Abortion Rights in the USA, you'll find this statement about why the Church of Satan refuses to involve itself in this issue. In recent days, we've seen an increase in communications asking, and in some cases demanding, that we involve the Church of Satan with the heated abortion issues now being fought over in a number of U.S. states. These recently introduced legislations are clearly religious in nature, and our organization has repeatedly stated that religion has no place in politics. We call for a secular society to equitably serve the majority interests. As a religious organization, it would be hypocritical for us to take a political position when we actively support the separation of church and state. A plethora of religions fighting it out muddies the water, and it strengthens the resolve of the faithful when they see the devil as their direct opposition. One does not get rid of religion and politics by putting more religion into politics. On matters of medicine and health, we think it best that doctors and scientists should be consulted, and holy books ignored. Whichever way a Satanist personally feels, the organization leaves it up to the individual members to decide how they wish to be involved, if at all. From the same article. As individualists, we encourage people to get involved in issues about which they are passionate. Vote, speak out, and make certain your own positions are strengthened, whether they might be based on your own self-interest and priorities. If you have a stake in this, and chances are you do, voice your opinion to those you placed in power, or remove them by voting if they fail you. If you have not been involved politically thus far, registering to vote is a powerful first step. Instead of scapegoating or savior hunting, we Satanists call for responsibility and active participation in these deeply controversial issues. So no, abortion is not a sacrament in Satanism. Ask any number of Satanists for their views on abortion, and you'll probably get that many differing opinions. Satanism and the Church of Satan do not expect us to agree on anything other than the religion. You can be pro-choice, pro-life, apathetic to the issue, or even maintain aberrant opinions many may not have even considered or would otherwise be deemed abhorrent. Everyone must decide what position they choose for themselves, as Satanism does not encourage homogeneity. Class dismissed.